Hey guys, LevelCap here, and this is the Titanfall Alpha. For those of you not familiar with Titanfall, it is a shooter coming out for the PC and Xbox on March 11th. The game looks phenomenal. It's unlike anything I've ever played before. It's a lot of fun to play, and as you can see from the graphics and just the intensity of it, here I am on a rodeoing a Titan. That's where I get on the back and I shoot at the CPU core and then basically jump away before it explodes, which would be now. The game takes place in a very futuristic universe where the militia and IMC are fighting it out against each other. This particular clip I am playing as a militia. I'm a pilot. That means I'm up on top of a building. I don't play inside of a Titan yet, and I can fight other pilots and I can fight some of the NPCs around the map. There's Grunts and Spectre NPCs. Spectres are sort of these robot-like soldiers, and Grunts are essentially humans without jump jets, and they're pretty easy to kill. They'll give you points and they allow you to get your Titan quicker. You're gonna see here I have just called in my Titan and it landed right there. It's got a little protective shield around it, and now I'm going to get into it. Notice in front the TV screens will actually illuminate once the Titan is online. This is kind of a cool thing because when you get hit with an EMP grenade, they actually affect the TV screens but not the mechanisms around it. You're going to actually see here I'm going to get hit by an EMP grenade. My screens are going to go all blurry. It's going to be hard to see. This is one of the ways that a pilot on the ground can actually help you defeat a Titan, other than actually riding on the back of it and shooting at its CPU box. Now, as a pilot, jump jets are one of the key things that you need to get good with to get around the world of Titanfall. There's lots of buildings, high structures that you're going to need to be able to jump up onto. When you jump, you get one jump jet boost. Now, when you touch a surface after you've jumped, that resets it, and you can actually jump off of walls and basically any surface you can get next to. So if I say jump across the street from one building and I hit the side of it, that's refreshed not only my jump but my jump jet. So you can actually stay off the ground in an urban environment by jumping between alleys and buildings. It's a very cool way to get around quickly in this game. And believe it or not, Titanfall is actually a 6v6 game. That means there's 6 human players on one team and 6 human players on another team. But the game doesn't really look like that. You'll see that it looks like I'm in the middle of a gigantic futuristic war. There's giant robots. There's tons of infantry on the ground. You're going to see lots of rockets come flying at me from different perspectives. This is because there are a lot of bots and AI in the game. As I mentioned before, there's Grunts and Spectres, and these guys aren't too much of a threat on their own, but in groups they can actually deal out some decent damage and hit your Titan with rockets and stuff that you really don't want them to hit it with at the worst possible time. So if you're in a big Titan fight one-on-one, but there's a bunch of enemy AI around you, they can hit you with some stuff, and all of a sudden the battle changes in the other Titan's favor. So it's a very interesting element to the game. Everybody was very concerned about having AI in a multiplayer shooter. Having played it, I gotta say it actually works out pretty well, and it adds a really nice element into the game, making everything feel like a giant battle, but not where you're getting killed like instantly, because everybody on the battlefield is necessarily a really good player and can take you out fast. A lot of the bots are pretty easy to kill, so you get the ambiance of a giant war, but you can actually stand around and enjoy it a bit more rather than having to duck for cover every second. And like many modern shooters these days, there's multiple classes that you can play, all which have different abilities, different grenades, different primary weapons, different secondary weapons. You can get lock-on rocket launchers that can help you take down Titans from rooftops and stuff like that. And you can also get different Titans, and you can customize each of those Titans to have different weapons and different special abilities. So there's a good deal of customization in here, and I have a feeling that depending on the map and game type, it's going to dictate what kind of classes best suit those maps or best suit those game types. For example, some of the maps are bigger, wider open, there's big grass, green fields, and you might want to choose a Titan that has some really good long range weapons. There is a cool artillery cannon that you can get. You might also want to pick a pilot that has something, again, good for long range like a sniper rifle. This map here is city. It's close quarters, so you're probably going to want something a little bit more agile, something that can definitely fight its way out of a corner. Now, changing the scene a little bit, the previous map was called Angel City. This one here is called Fracture. It does have some more wide open places. Again, it has some smaller close quarter areas, definitely catering to both styles of gameplay, but you're going to see here that it's pretty fun to move throughout the interior areas as a pilot dealing with bots and stuff like that in areas that Titans can't necessarily necessarily get to you. And that's nice that if somebody's, say, getting dominated by titans all around, they can definitely try and stick indoors a bit more. Now here I've actually spawned directly into a titan. If you get enough points for a Titanfall, but you die before you get to use it, you have the option of spawning in as a pilot or just directly into your titan. The machine gun I'm using is the X016 chain gun, and it's excellent for dealing with bots. One thing that really struck me about Titanfall while I was playing it was the interior building detail. There's a lot of games that sort of have these big structures and big buildings where they model maybe the lobby of a hotel or maybe a few rooms at the base of a building, but in Titanfall you really feel like the cities are alive and that you can go into any window, any door, and once you're in there it actually looks like maybe a command center, or maybe it looks like somebody's apartment and loft. And there's a sofa and a refrigerator and tons of tiny little details to make you really feel like this isn't just a game in a room. You feel like you're sort of in this living, breathing world that has a lot of history and a lot of story behind it. Now obviously one of the biggest draws to Titanfall is the fact that there's pilots running around on the ground and then there's gigantic mechas. I love the fact that pilots can actually play a really big role in taking down titans, so it's not just all about the titan gameplay. In fact, if you really like playing as a pilot, once you call in your titan, you can actually set it to essentially bot mode and it will run around and fight for you. If you decide to get into it, you can do that as well. But if you really like being agile and getting up on rooftops and stuff like that, then you really might just prefer to play the pilot style of gameplay and use your titan mode in bot mode and almost use it as bait to lure in targets to attack the titan, because they are very big and easy to spot on the map. The titan combat itself is pretty interesting. Your left hand seems to be this sort of magnet shield that allows you to absorb incoming fire and then shoot it back at your opponent. This gives you a lot of options of like, are you going to play defensively, are you going to play super aggressively? You can even get in real close and punch your enemy titan to death in sort of a giant robot boxing match. And I do actually have a lot of titan-centric gameplay, and I'm going to be talking about that in my next Titanfall video, so stay tuned for that. We're going to be getting into the different weapons and combinations that you can do with titan combat. All in all, I really liked Titanfall, and this is coming from somebody who only plays PC shooters, and I was playing on the Xbox One, so obviously my skills were lacking quite a bit, but I was having a hell of a time. Even when I was getting my butt kicked, there was just so many scenes and scenarios in this game that just kind of have your mouth dropping and hitting the desk, and you're just like, I can't believe like what I'm seeing right now. Giant robots ripping pilots out of each other, blowing away parts of the city, taking out like giant armies of AI. It's just a really amazing and visually spectacular game, so I cannot wait to play it more. The beta is coming out very soon on the 14th, so get ready for that. Make sure you sign up for the beta so you can reserve your slot. It's going to be a beta for PC and Xbox One. So stay tuned, guys. There's more Titanfall videos on the way. I hope you enjoyed this one, and as always, I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.